I must warn those of you who have clicked on this video to watch it that you are about to see two things that will undoubtedly shock you. Number one, it turns out battleships as a class are the least accurate in the entire game, and sometimes you get terrible salvos like the ones we're going to get in the Tier 7 premium Russian battleship Borodino. If this game looks familiar to you, it's because it did happen on a stream, but as you know, I like to save videos and do post-stream analysis on some of the good games, and this one is certainly a highlight, but we are going to get terribly inaccurate salvos throughout probably the entire first half, maybe the first two-thirds of this battle. And those of you who get really frustrated with inaccurate battleship salvos may feel a little bit of secondhand rage, but don't worry, at the end, we will see catharsis. The results are going to be pretty good if you haven't actually seen me play this live on the stream where it happened. But also, the second thing I must warn you about, and this will shock you more than anything, is that after watching this battle back, it became abundantly clear to me that really the only reason we get the result we do is because of the actions of the friendly CV. And I'm loath to do this, but we must give our friendly August von Parzival a compliment in order to be fair and objective about the analysis in this battle. You'll see what I mean as time goes on. For now, though, note that we are one of two battleships on the blue team, and the red team only has one battleship, which is a Karl Johann. Very significant because the Borodino has overmatchable bow and stern plating by pretty much any battleship you're likely to encounter at Tier 7. There's only a few exceptions to that, and Karl Johann is one. Even if we did have overmatchable bow armor, though, by Karl Johann, I don't think I'd be very worried either because that ship is not great. Anyway, we've decided to come out here on the Charlie flank. We've got a destroyer inside of it. He's going to be spotting stuff. And we're just sort of playing passively to begin with. We wanted to get some intelligence data. But as the positions of the red team are revealed, it becomes clear that all that's on this flank are about 3 cruisers and a destroyer. And if we push in, we're going to have the numbers advantage. We've got everybody in front of us, so we have a ton of warning of incoming torpedoes and a ton of spotting, which would be nice if the salvos from the Borodino were in any way accurate. There's one overpen and one ricochet. At this point in the battle, I think we've shot, 3 or 4 times? We've hit 8 shells. We do only have 6 guns, to be fair, and we've done a grand total of 15,552 damage. I know, these are impressive numbers indeed, but don't worry, they'll get even better. The friendly cruiser, which is a Seattle, radars the only destroyer on this flank, the Chungmu, and, well, you don't want to get caught in Seattle radar when you're in the Chungmu a couple kilometers away. We don't offer any assistance whatsoever there, another terribly inaccurate salvo. Although, to be fair, I think we aimed a little too far ahead, but still, one of those shells could have dispersed right into that hole, but it didn't. Seattle gets the kill. Both, 2 destroyers on the blue team have been eliminated, 2 on the red team. This is why I never worry about games where there's a ton of destroyers. Not that 3 destroyers per team is a ton. I think maybe once you get to 4 or 5 destroyers per team, some battleship commanders start to get a little bit worried. But in most cases, this one included, if there is more than 1 destroyer on each team, you can bet, it's a really safe bet, let's say, to predict that by the time 5 minutes have elapsed, there will either be 2 destroyers or no destroyers. And you can see there's still 10 minutes and 50-something seconds left on the clock, and, there's 1 destroyer on each team. Destroyers are the easiest class of ships to play in this game. Never forget that. They're brain dead, they don't require any skill whatsoever, and that is why they all sink immediately in the battle instead of surviving until the end and dominating everything. That's what you'll see if you go on to the forums on the internet for this community. Anyway, now we're actually in a position where maybe these guns will work. 8 kilometers away from the Brindisi, and there we go. Finally, we get some good accuracy out of the Borodino. Honestly, this game feels like an anomaly to me. I think most of the time when I play the Borodino, the salvos look mostly like that one against the Brindisi. and not all the other salvos we've gotten up until this point. Charles Martel. This is maybe a bit of a risk to push in aggressively on this flank due to the torpedo threat, not from Charles Martel, but from the other cruiser that was just spotted a moment ago, which is a Shimanto. But we should know that the Charles Martel is on low HP, and look at what the friendly CV is doing. That's right, he's going after the Charles Martel with torpedoes. This is evidence that that CV understands which targets to focus, namely the low HP targets that your team is also shooting at. And of course, we shoot at the Charles Martel. Thanks to the damage the CV did, we're able to take him out, even with our bad dispersion and poor aim. We aimed too far forward, but one shell did full pen the bow. So Charles Martel is our second kill. And now, the biggest threat that we're going to face in this entire battle, honestly, since the enemy CV apparently has no interest in pursuing us, it's the Shimanto, which is currently concealed behind this rock, but is about to push out. And once again, the friendly CV is choosing to focus the correct target. You can see he's even pushed up to the border of the Charlie cap so that he can reduce the time it takes for his planes to leave the flight deck and reach the Shimanto. Very helpful, honestly, and I really hate complimenting CVs. Believe me, I do. This hurts my soul, but I mean, you can't criticize this guy for anything. He's pushed up, he's in a good position to use his planes, and his target selection is on point. I think many other CV commanders might be flying their planes to the other side of the map. Not this guy, though. He wants to clear the flank before he moves on, which is great. And there he lands some torpedoes on Shimanto, reducing him to almost no HP. And, you know, if we were a competent battleship captain, which sometimes we are, but not in this moment, we probably could have taken out that Shimanto. Look at how he's turning to get torpedoes on target, exposing the Citadel. But there, I think we aim too far forward. We go right through the bow, but we miss the Citadel. And so Shimanto can release the torpedoes, which are almost enough to take us out. Thankfully, Borodino has a little bit of an improved heal, so we can get a lot of HP back, and there's nothing over here that can shoot us any longer. All that's left is the Pobeda, who, of course, is not going to be shooting at us, but is going to be presenting a nice, juicy broadside for this AP to Citadel. Yes, that is only the second Citadel of the game, following the one we got on a cruiser. And Pobeda, well, he's still broadside, so he's still a damaged pinata. This is, of course, wonderfully cathartic. You always love to see the broadside enemy CV presenting his Citadel to you so that you can take it for free. And 2 salvos is all it takes from the Borodino to send the Pobeda back to port. That just leaves the Carl Johan, who, as I've alluded to already, is no real threat, and the Fletcher, who certainly is a threat and sitting inside of the Bravo cap trying to take it. But once again, take a look at what the friendly August von Parzival is doing. Is he launching his torpedo ships at the juicy, full-health battleship? Nope. He's harassing the enemy destroyer, which is exactly what we would need him to do. This guy, at least, you know, he's playing a CV, but he does know his target selection. And target selection, well, that is certainly a skill in this game that not everybody possesses. So GG's to this August von Parzival. Again, I can't believe I'm saying that, but it is Thanksgiving, and so it is the time, well, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, but it's the time to be thankful for things, and we can be thankful for our competent blue teammates. Carl Johan, broadside to us. This is great, but no Citadels. 12,000 damage, though. We're almost up to 100,000, so this is quite nearly respectable numbers. And of course, we're on 3 kills, so we're on the Kraken hunt. We're going to need to sink this Fletcher. More torpedoes coming in courtesy of the friendly CV. He does hit 1, and the Fletcher is spotted. He's shot by one of our cruisers, and then we're able to take off the remainder of his HP, yoinking the kill for our 4th. And then, all that's left is Carl Johan, who is being farmed by the friendly cruisers. And, well, oh, there's his torpedoes, but it's fine. They're fast torpedoes, but they don't hit hard. We're all good. And so, once Carl Johan comes around this island, which really he shouldn't if he wants to preserve his HP, but I don't think he can actually win this battle no matter what the circumstances. So yeah, come around that island. Let's see the broadside. Give me my Kraken. And thanks to the friendly CV for reducing all the HP on all these targets we were shooting at. It was honestly very helpful. I don't think this Kraken would have been possible without the assistance from that friendly CV. And what do you know? He's second on the leaderboard with 2,200 base XP, just behind our 2,700 with the Kraken. And yeah, thanks to the August von Parseval. See, even though I hate CVs, I can be complimentary of one when they do a good job and help me get a Kraken. Nothing to do but thank the guy. And there you go, in the spirit of Thanksgiving tomorrow. So happy Thanksgiving to those of you in America. Give the video a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow for the dramatic reading of the patch notes. But until then, goodbye.